Okay, so this is my iPad mini 2nd generation, which I've had for, well, ever since new, when they first came out. It's a 32 gig model and it's been great. I've got an iPad 10.5 inch now as my main iPad, and that's what I do all my editing on. So this has become a secondary iPad, and the reason I haven't sold it or got rid of it is because the home button doesn't work, so I've got this virtual home button to be able to control it. Anyway, I saw that iOS 12.4, which is the last version of software that will work on this iPad, has been jailbroken, and it's very easy to jailbreak. And I was following some guides online, and the one I found which worked really well for me was the one which used Tweakbox. And I'll put a link in the description to the guide, because there's no point in me showing you how to do it, because actually the guide works really well. You might find that you have to do it several times. I had to do it about, 8-9 times, and eventually it took, and it's working now. So you might find if you load up c.t.r.l.i that a lot of things don't work, and I installed lots of different things on it, and if I go back to the main page here, loads of things aren't supported. There are certain things that you can buy, certain things that are free, but a lot of things they won't charge you for because they're not actually optimized for 12.4. Because c.t.r.l.i has been around for years and years, and it was a much bigger scene back in the day. So I've got this iPod Touch 2nd gen, super old. Let's try and get it so it's a bit clearer. And I installed c.t.r.l.i back on that a long time ago, and had to play around with it, and just sort of had emulators working, things like that, downloaders, all sorts of things. And it's been great, but I don't really use this very much anymore. But again, this isn't worth a lot of money, but I really like it as a device, so I hold on to it. So what can you do that's worthwhile on your jailbroken iPad? Well, I tried some of the mice and joypad apps, and none of those seem to work, but I have got one of these Mad Catz controllers. It's a bit dark in here to try and show you the screen. The camera's trying to adjust to it, and this is one of the ones that you can clip a phone to the top of. Obviously I can't clip my iPad to it, but I can put it in the stand that it's in now, and I'll put a link in the description to the anker stand that it's on. So this, if I quit out of this and close everything down, I can find Retroarch, which is an emulator, or a group of emulators, which is excellent. Works on loads of different platforms, and I've actually put in some favourites to save me going through all the menus. So Outrun, the arcade game, and if I close that down, so this is my controller, and I've configured the left analog stick to insert a coin. There you go, credit 1, and the right stick for start. And I've got the digital pad, which is controlling left and right, and the ordinary buttons. So A is accelerate on this. And you can see that it runs really well. And this is quite an old device. I'll put on the screen when this device came out. I mean, obviously arcade emulators, this game was in the arcade years ago, so it's not that impressive that it runs this, but still very enjoyable to play, and a nice use for this iPad. Just opens up some more possibilities. So let's quit that and go back. In fact, I'll just quit Retroarch. Oh, if I do it properly, quit Retroarch, go back into it, and go into favourites, and the PlayStation emulator works well. Now, I've tried a few different emulators on this, and I'm using Beetle for this video. It doesn't run quite as fast as the other PlayStation emulator that's in there, but the other PlayStation emulator, the rider on the bike goes invisible, and the bike goes invisible at different times as well, so it's not really very playable. But I'm only trying one game on this, because I really play this on a large screen TV. But if I was travelling, I'd be quite happy to use this. My focus is gone, it's back. Okay, so this is all using the joystick controller again. And it runs a little bit slow, but the graphics look decent, and actually at this speed it's quite an enjoyable game to play. And this is, if you watch my channel, this is one of my favourite games of all time. On various different platforms, I've been trying them all. Oh. Okay, so this is how I get a ROM to work in Retroarch on this iPad. I navigate to I've got a NAS drive, a network attached storage, and mine is Western Digital. And if you've got a Western Digital drive and it doesn't show up here, you need to install the MyCloud app on your iPad or iPhone, and then it will show up. You can actually hit edit and it will show up here. You can add it as a device. So if I click on MyCloud, you can see that's my NAS drive. If I navigate to the folder I want, so the one I want here is ROMs for Pi, and if I go to Mega Drive, find the ROM that I want, so let's say Streets of Rage, hit share, find Retroarch on here. So that's now copied Streets of Rage into Retroarch. So if I was to go, oh, now it's doing it. So hit load content, find it in the list here, Streets of Rage. It gives you an option of what to launch it with. So let's say Pico Drive and see what happens. There you go, that looks like it's loading up. So we'll get rid of the overlay. Again, we pick up our controller, nice and dark still. So start button on mine, I've mapped it to right analog. And this works really fast, really well. Oh. Have I got a kick as well? Oh, I got some other move there, look. 3 buttons work. Jump. So jump and kick. And this weird power move. Oh, wasn't expecting that. Oh, you can roll. What did I do then? Nice. So a good tip is to use the favourites option. So when you launch it, first of all, go in here and you've got favourites, and you can see I've got 3 games there, so I can jump straight into these games. There you go straight in at that point. Okay, so that's Retroarch, and there are many cores on here that I haven't tried. Loads and loads of different things that you can try, but I also found there was some emulators which were standalone. PPSSPP I couldn't get to work. It would load the ROM, give you the first title screen, then just quit out, and I tried every different option, couldn't get it to work, but the Game Boy one worked really well. So there's a couple of, I think I've only got, yeah, it does Game Boy Advance, and I've only got Game Boy Color games in here at the moment, but I'll do a little bit of a Game Boy Color game. And again, I've configured this joystick to work with it. Let's get the music a bit lower. But this runs at full speed. Obviously, you would expect my iPad has got enough power to be able to handle this. But actually, for a Game Boy Color game, very playable, very smooth. See if I can win a point. There we go. So plenty more to try. Just thought it was interesting that it would work on my old iPad and work very well. And some of these things came from the Tweakbox store. Again, I'm not sure how safe these are, so do this all at your own risk. But there are loads of emulators on there and various different things that you can install, and it just gives you a few more things that you can do on your device. And I'm off to claim my free iPhone XS. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.